Guys, look at this gorgeous corned beef. In this tutorial, you're going to learn how to make a beautiful, falling apart tender corned beef. Oh, man, that is so good. Well, howdy folks. Welcome to Texas Cooking Today. I'm Stuart Trotter, your host. Today we're going to be preparing some wonderful, delicious food. And what you're watching here, this is one of my tutorials. So if you're looking for all of the answers and all of the details about this recipe, you found the right video. If you just need the recipe, watch the previous episode. That's what that is. And thank you very much for watching. Now, let's get into this. Guys, did you see that meat? Beautiful, red inside. That's the way a corned beef should look when it's fully cooked. And believe it or not, that's had hours to cook. And it is delicious, let me tell you. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to show you for St. Patrick's Day this year how to do corned beef and cabbage. Some people call this a New England boiled dinner. Whatever you refer to it as, it is just flat delicious. I grew up eating this, and I'm going to show you exactly what we did to get excellent corned beef and cabbage every single time. Guys, this is a one-pot meal. It's easy to do. Don't shy away from it. It's delicious and fun. Now let's get in the kitchen and let's get busy cooking up our St. Patrick's Day corned beef and cabbage. Come on. Oh guys, now this does look good. Basic, simple, clean ingredients. Now something I want to mention about corned beef. You have some different cuts that corned beef commonly comes as. Sometimes it comes as round. I've seen them use chuck. It's not common. Brisket is very common, and that's really the cut I like. And the reason I like that brisket is it has an even marbling running throughout. It gives you a wonderful flavor of the meat's fat in addition to the unique flavor from the pickling process. Now what they did is they preserved this meat in basically like a salt bath, a brine. And so you don't have to use any salt when you're cooking this. The meat already has that built in, not a problem. And when it's finished, it's not going to be salty, but it's going to have a very unique and very interesting flavor to it. It's one I absolutely love, but it's not typical for common beef. So if you've never had this, you're in for a treat. It is a neat flavor, and I'm absolutely sure you're going to enjoy it. Guys, take your meat that comes packaged up, take that out, wash it off really good. Once it's washed, you can go ahead and put it right into a pot. Now I have it sitting out here just so you can kind of get a visual on it and know what we're doing. The meat will also come with a little package just like this. It's going to be a little packet of herbs and spices, all right? And I believe there's some mustard in there, and they probably have some red pepper and some other really neat stuff. But this is a perfectly measured out packet. You might as well go ahead and use it. They're free spices. And it gives it an extra edge in its flavor. It's very good. Now what we're going to do is you're going to need a big pot. I use an 8-quart for this. We're going to be cooking it up in that. Your potatoes and cabbage, they get cooked later on. Okay, so don't worry about that. That gets cooked when the meat is finished up. Now something you need to know when you're planning for how many people you're cooking for, you have to figure how many ounces that you want per serving and base the portion upon that. All right, so you know, if you have everybody eating a half a pound of meat and you have 6 people eating, well then in the end you know you're going to need 3 pounds of meat. So if you buy a 3-pound roast, that won't be enough, because when you cook it you're going to lose a lot of volume. Consider you about 1/3 loss. If you're going to be cooking for 6 people, you might want to get a 4 to 4.5 pound roast for this. So that's all you need to remember. It's very simple. You're going to lose about 1/3 in the cooking process. Now guys, we're going to get on with cooking this up. I'm looking forward to eating it up too. Now guys, this is as simple as we get our meat down in water, and I have to bring this to a boil. My water's already hot and it's coming up in temperature quickly. What's going to happen here is we're going to see a scum start to come up from this meat, and what that is it's just a combination of some of the fat that's being released in the hot water, it's melting off, mixed with the salty brine that is penetrated the outer part of the meat. So what'll happen is that salty brine will cook off into that scum. And if you get that out of there, it'll keep it from bittering the meat as you cook it. So go ahead and do that. Pay attention to it as it's starting to come up in temperature, and that's when you catch it. Once it's up to a full boil, and only then, and we've removed all of that, then that's when we put this in, but not until. Okay guys, as you see, we're starting to get some kickoff, and this isn't too bad right here, but sometimes you will find what looks like a kind of an opaque grayish or slightly tan colored foamy clumps, and that definitely needs to come out of it. So this is what I'm talking about. We just take off any of this that comes up, and in a little bit here, when it breaks to a full boil and we're not getting any more of this, that's when it's time for our spices to go in, and we'll cover it and simmer it. All right, I'll give that a minute more for any more of that to come up to the top, and we'll be up and cooking. But guys, I'm just getting the last of this out of here. It is now coming up to a boil. My meat has risen from the bottom of the pot and is starting to float a little bit. And that's when we are starting our cooking process. Okay, here's the thing. How long does it take to cook? Now, over the years, I've kind of discovered on average an hour to an hour and a half per pound. That's not an all-encompassing rule, guys. It depends on the cut of meat, how tough it is. But what we're looking for is to be able to take a fork, stick it down in the meat, and if I can push my fork into the meat and the meat slides off easily and doesn't hang on like it's doing now, it doesn't want to let go. There we go. The meat hasn't cooked yet, obviously. If you can slide a fork into that and it slips right back out and you can see the meat starting to flake apart easily, then it's done. And only the meat itself can tell you, because each cut is going to cook at a different pace. All right, but you can, like I said, on average figure about an hour to hour and a half per pound, and that way you're giving yourself enough time. All right, it's just that simple. Now that this has come up to a boil, I'm going to put a lid on it after I put my spices in it. Go. Get those in there now. Just that simple, guys. Put a lid on this, and I'm going to cook it over medium-low heat. We're just going to let it simmer until it is ready. Well, this has been cooking now for almost 3 hours, and I just checked it. When I push my fork into it, it slips back out quite easily. So frankly, this thing is done. All I have to do is just get it out of this water and then get my vegetables down in here. Now don't worry about this resting for a little bit. It's not going to hurt it while you're cooking your vegetables. Your meat will rest just fine. But until I get the veggies cut and ready to go in there, I'm going to let it just keep cooking for a few more minutes. Won't hurt a thing. Now guys, when you're getting ready to prep your vegetables, on these potatoes, I've got these already washed, and all I'm going to do here, I'm just going to simply quarter these and throw them in. And I'm not using all of these for myself, but I wanted to show you a large amount so you can get an idea of what really works well with about 3 pounds. Because if you're going to be feeding 4 to 6 people, this meal will do that with what you see here. When it comes to a cabbage like this, you have these outer leaves. Guys, don't throw these away. Let me tell you a couple of different things you might want to know about these big, beautiful leaves. The first thing is you see all of this, what looks like a white powder all over them. So you'll know that isn't really a white powder. That's actually yeast right there. That's what that is. That's simply a form of wild yeast that grows on this cabbage. If you would like, and there's nothing wrong with it, it won't hurt you. It's good to eat. It's chock full of B complex vitamins. Yeast is good for that. This yeast can be washed off of here and harvested to make things such as bread or beer or things like that with. So when it comes to finding yeast, it's not hard to find. It grows on a lot of our vegetables. So these make a wonderful little container if you want to use them to lay your food out on top of this. The potatoes, corned beef, and your cabbage look lovely when they're laid out on one of these leaves. So you can save that for that purpose. It's very dressy. When your cabbage gets down to those little more green leaves on the inside, and we'll just take off one more here. There we go, because it's just slightly scarred. That'll cook just fine. But for what I'm doing, I just want this part. We're going to quarter this, and I want to remove the core, and that's all there is to that. So it's a very simple thing to prep for this meal. First thing, I want to take that off. Cabbages are very difficult to cut, so get a good firm grip on them, keep the fingers under and back away from that edge, and a good stroke straight down. There's your core, and that core is easier to remove once it's quartered. So I'm going to do that. Now I can take that core and just as simple as this, cut it right out. Isn't that nice? Very easy. Guys, there it is. Our cabbage is ready to go in the pot. All I need to do is cut up a few of my potatoes and we're ready to go. The smaller potatoes, I need only half them. But the larger potatoes, I think I would rather quarter them. And the idea there is you want as even cooking as possible. Okay, I have everything ready to go in the pot. Remember, potatoes cook first, 10 minutes on these, then add your cabbage, 10 more minutes, and then the whole thing is ready. You can pull the vegetables out, your meat will have a moment to rest. It all works out easy, guys. All right, now get this out of the water here, and gentle. I'm just going to set that aside. I'm going to cover it with some foil to keep it warm, and in a little bit we'll cut. And so down in the pot they go. Be kind of careful, you don't want to splash that boiling hot liquid out. Now the liquid you have in this pot is perfect. It's already pre-flavored and it's going to flavor your vegetables. It's a fantastic way to cook them up. Now guys, my potatoes have been in there for 10 minutes. So here we go with the cabbage. That's all you got to do. Just drop it in there. Let it do its thing. At this point, if you want to cover it, that'll help speed up that cooking. I set the timer for 10 more minutes and dinner is served. Now we have the vegetables cooked and I have them just kind of resting in the pot. They are cooking a little more there, but it won't hurt a thing. I want to take my meat and start slicing it. And you see from the outside, nothing particularly beautiful. However, once you get up underneath there, look at that. That beautiful red flesh. And look how easy that is just. It's coming apart, guys. So there we have it. Our beautiful corned beef. And that's exactly the way it should be. Just literally coming apart and nice and pink in the middle. Isn't that nice? Every bit what corned beef should really be. Now guys, so you will know what I was using here. I'm using a 3.5 pound roast. And like I said, I'm going to lose a lot of that in the cooking, so it's going to shrink up a whole lot. This will feed maybe 3 to 4 people, okay? It's a nice size roast if you want a quick cook. The larger ones do take a little longer. As you've seen, it's not that difficult, and you're going to have to base your other portions the same way. One large cabbage will do 6 people, all right? If you have 8 people, get 2 medium-sized cabbages. It's just that simple. Everything cooks in the same pot. And on your potatoes, how much potatoes when you're dealing with red or white potatoes or maybe Yukon Golds, because they're not that big of a potato. So if you've got potatoes this size versus this size, I would say 2 of these per person or 1 of these per person. That's a good size portion. You can do carrots, turnips, anything else that you want to boil up in that pot is going to come out delicious tasting. So go ahead and throw it down in there. Ingredients aren't really that difficult for this. It's just a matter of cook it up. Thank you for watching. Now, let's take a look at it. There it is, all served up and beautiful. Guys, I have been waiting for hours to enjoy this treat. This wonderful slight saltiness, just buttery soft, so tender. The remarkable flavors that are in corned beef. If you've never had it, you deserve to try it. It's just remarkably good. Guys, this is a super meal that's great for this time of year. Please enjoy your St. Patrick's Day. Please give this a try for St. Patrick's Day, and you're going to love it. It's a fantastic food. You can save this meat, make sandwiches from it, and if you've ever had a Reuben that was made from corned beef cooked this way, you see Reubens altogether different. Okay, wait till you try it. It's fantastic. Well, folks, thank you for watching Texas Cooking Today in this episode. If you would, please subscribe. Please click that like button. And if you would, down in the comments, type something for me. Enter a request. If you have questions, I'll answer them. And thank you very much for watching again. Now, folks, one last thing, if you would, just have a good day. I'm going to. Well, there it is, guys. Texas Cooking Today tutorial. Thank you very much for watching this show and for watching Texas Cooking Today. If you would, please go to my channel. Check out what I have there. There's some wonderful recipes and some great tutorials waiting for you to try. Again, thank you very much.